A salon owner could miss a booking simply because they didn't reply to a message quickly enough. Think about it. Someone sends, "How much is a haircut? Do you have availability this week? I'd like to book an appointment." Now, imagine answering those same questions every single day. That is why I built this simple salon booking automation in ManyChat. In this video, I'll show you how I used Instagram automation, trigger words, and flow steps to create a booking experience that helps customers choose a service, select a preferred day, and submit a booking request automatically. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Meera. I'm currently learning AI and automation, and I'm documenting my journey by building practical systems for real businesses. Today's project is a salon booking automation built with ManyChat. This is a beginner-friendly project, and if you are also learning automation, you see how simple tools like trigger words and flow steps can create a smoother customer experience. But before we build it, let's look at the customer journey. So when a customer sends a message on Instagram, that message triggers the automation and starts the booking flow. The customer is then welcomed and asks which service they would like to book. For this project, I used braids, wig installation, and hair treatment. After choosing a service, they are then asked to select their preferred appointment day. For this project, I used Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Once they make their selection, the automation confirms the booking request and lets the customer know that the salon will follow up shortly. The goal isn't to replace the salon owner, but to simply make the booking process faster and more organized. And before you start any automation, you need to plan out the stuff you need to do, the messages or the text or the context that would be in the messages or the response that the automation or the flow would have. So I have a document that has all these information that I'll be using to create this automation. So first things first, you need to have a ManyChat account. So you go to manychat.com, you create an account, you connect it to your Instagram page, and then your Instagram page must be connected to a Facebook page, and your Instagram page must be a business account or a creator account. That is when you can have the automation running with your Instagram account. So when you come to the dashboard, you go to the automation, which is on the left side on the panel. So when you go there, you see my automations. So you go to new automation. Since we are starting from scratch, there are templates, but we are starting from scratch. So we go to start from scratch and then start from a blank canvas. That is what will give us the liberty to create, or the ability to create everything by ourselves. So while it's loading, you have to prepare, like I said, you need to prepare your documents for that. So for this, let's start with the trigger word. Now, the first thing I did was to create a trigger word. That is what starts the automation. So when a customer sends a specific keyword or a message that contains these keywords, ManyChat automatically launches the booking flow. So some common words would be hi, hello, are you available, I would like to book an appointment. So these words or these sentences contain some keywords that can be used or is found in everyday sentences that customers will use to send a message. So when you select the trigger, you are going to have a lot of options. But because ours is going to be with a message, so we use the when the user sends a message, then select away your trigger automation. So if the message contains, that is what I said earlier, when the message contains some keywords, so I'm going to add the keywords that I believe customers will use when they are trying to book an appointment with a hairstylist. So I used hello, hi, booking, appointment, and I use braids as well. I just use braids, just that. So these 5 keywords would be in or would be my trigger words, so that when a customer sends a message and then they contain these words, the automation would start. So when you set a trigger, you need to add a next step. That is, what would happen after the trigger has been, or what happens when the message has been sent. Yeah. So the next thing I created was the welcome message. This message introduces the salon and asks the customer what service they would like to book. So instead of requiring customers to type their answers, I'll add buttons for the braids, the wig installation, and the hair treatment. This makes the experience quicker and easier. One thing I'm learning about automation is that reducing friction matters. The fewer steps customers have to take, the more likely they are to complete the process. So this is my welcome message. Like I said earlier, I already have that written in a document. So I just copy paste and then I create the buttons for booking of an appointment, the services that are available, and then the business hours. So the book an appointment button will direct the customer to the services that are available. So these are the buttons I spoke about. These buttons are going to direct the customer to the next step. So for booking an appointment, it will take the customer to view the services that are available to book an appointment with. The view services is also going to direct the customer to also book an appointment or to see the services that are available. Yeah. And then the business hours is going to tell the customer the times that we are open and then redirect the customer to view the services that are available and then still book an appointment. So basically that is the whole cycle. Just to redirect the customer back to view the services and then book an appointment. So after directing the customer to book an appointment, we are going to talk about the services that are available. So we have braids, we have hair treatments, and then we have wig installation. So any choice the customer picks is going to direct the customer to select the days they are available to come for their service. That is the booking days. So the buttons are set. Now we go to the next step, which is the preferred date selection or the preferred day selection. So I'm going to add a next step that is going to connect with the buttons. So the next step, like I said earlier, is going to ask the customer the days that they would like to have their braids, wig installation, or hair treatments. So I'm just going to copy and paste the message I have. Then I would add the buttons for the individual days, which is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So this step is done. Now we are going to add the confirmation dates or the confirmation message. So I'll add the next step. You can add the next step either by using the buttons, or you come to the next step that is at the bottom. So you just click on the circle and then you add the next step. And then this is a free account, so you can also equally create this on a free account as well. You don't need to pay for anything at the moment. This is just a simple workflow that can run also on the free account. So I'm going to add the confirmation date, the confirmation message, sorry. So for this, like I said earlier, I'm going to redirect the customer back to view the services that is available. So that is what I have done. So the button is there. Later now I will be dragging them to be connected to the view services or the services step. So initially I decided to create multiple for each day. Yeah, that is what I decided to do. So for each day that you select, you have a confirmation message that includes the day and the service you selected. But the goal of automation is to make everything simple, both for the customer and for the builder. So just to make the workflow simple and then more concise or small, I decided to just have one message for all the appointments without having the day. So as you can see, I'm still doing that, but I had to do changes after a while when I saw that the messages were a lot. Because if I'm going to go by this approach, I would have to do about 9 of these steps for the different services and for each day that is going to be selected. So this is what I'm doing. I'm making the services connect to the days. So any service that you select, it is going to give you the same days. And then I'm also connecting the services to the view services button to the what service would you like step. So at this point, I was still maneuvering around you giving the 3 message blocks. So this is me trying to connect the services. So it was this point that I saw that I had too many lines, too many connections connected to the service. See, so connecting all these 3 to one step wasn't really giving me any, I wasn't really feeling it. So here, this is my preview, what I have, just trying to check how the thing works. So hair treatment, I choose the options and then everything. So you need to name your automation so that you can set it apart from any other automation that you build later in the future. So this is how I named mine. So like I mentioned earlier, while I was running tests, that was when I realized I can really simplify this. So I made it with just one message. So I had to delete the remaining connections and then steps to make it more simple and then easy to work around. So I have to change the message that was inside. So I had to remove the day that I had inside, which was the Monday. So instead of having your appointment for Monday, Wednesday, or Friday has been received, it's just going to be your appointment has been received, and a stylist would connect with you shortly to confirm your booking. And then I connected the view services to the service. Then I had to connect the days to that confirmation message. Yeah. So that's what I have done. Then I have to also create the business hour step. So yeah, I had to write the days that were and the days that the salon is open and then the time that is open. Don't mind my English. So we are open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But with the help of Grammarly, I was able to correct my English. Then I'll also add a view services button so that when you check the business hours, you just go directly to book a service. So just like that. So I'm going to use the auto arrange to arrange the steps correctly. So that's the auto arrange, the one that looks like the whisk. Yeah, so that's done. let's check the preview. So I'm going to zoom in so that we can see the preview properly. I wasn't getting what I was looking for, so I had to zoom out and then zoom in again. I guess this one is visible enough, so I had to go through the processes. So whenever you send a message that has the trigger words, it will send you the welcome message where you are asked to choose an option, either to book an appointment or view the services. So when you book an appointment, you'll be sent to the next step, which is the services. So when you select any of the services, it's going to take you to the days that we are available. Then when you select the day, we send you a confirmation message. We are sent back to view services, and then the cycle goes on and on. But one thing I realized was when I want to check the business hours, I have to scroll back to the top to do that. And then that is a whole lot. Having to scroll all the way to the top of all the other messages to get to the business hours is quite cumbersome. So I decided to add the business hours button in the confirmation message so that it takes the person to the business hours step and then back. And then in the business hours step, you can see the view service button. Then it will take you to view the services that we have available. So I'm trying to connect it by button. So this button to the business hours button, but it doesn't work. So I have to delete that connection so that it doesn't take the person back to the menu. We don't want to be welcomed twice in the same conversation. So I tried the other way around, it still didn't work. So I had to connect that step to that button to the business hours step. And then, so when you click the business hours, it's going to bring you to the business hours step. And then in that step, there's going to be the view service button that will redirect the customer back to the the services that we have available. So a summary of what I've built so far is the trigger word will give you or would send the customer the welcome message. The welcome message has buttons that will help the customer book appointments, the services that we have available, the days that the customer wants or is available to come for the service, the confirmation message. Then the confirmation message has view services and then the business hours. That will take you to either to view the services or to view the business hours. So that's just about it, like basically what I've built. Building this project taught me a few important lessons. First, I learned how trigger words can be used to start automated conversations on Instagram. So the basic ones are the hello, hi, that like simply runs across a lot of industries. Then the other ones are going to be industry specific depending on what you are building. The second thing I also learned was how flow steps work together to guide users through a process. So you remember I was building the whole 3 steps or 3 messages for each day. That will give me like more than 9 steps for just 3 days, and then for each service. So it's going to give me a lot of steps. But I decided to simplify the confirmation message to not have the days, but just a simple message to say, yes, we've received your appointment. So a stylist would contact you and all that. So instead of overwhelming the customers with too much messages at one step, I just decided to make each step focus on one action, because I could have made all these in one step and then just have the buttons there, but it's going to be too much. Nobody likes to read plenty. Yeah. The third thing I learned that is that the automation doesn't have to be complicated to be useful. Like I mentioned earlier, the way I was building the many steps for the confirmation message, but I had to reduce it. And then another thing I also realized was that I can't connect a button to another button. I just have to connect the button to a step. So that one also makes sense. So who can use this? Although I built this for a salon, the same idea can be applied to many other businesses. For instance, barbering shops, spas, beauty clinics, coaches, consultants, and service-based businesses that take appointments. The structure still stays the same. The only differences is going to be the services and then the booking options that would be made available. So far, this is one of the first automations I've built while learning ManyChat, and it's been a great project for understanding how Instagram automation works. So if you are learning automation, I encourage you to try to build something similar. You don't need a complex AI system to get started, or a paid account in some instances. Sometimes the best way to learn is to solve one business problem at a time. So if you'd like to see more automation projects, let me know what I should build next. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.